When are you ready?
Good evening. It is Monday, September 29th. It is about 6:15 in the evening. This is the Law and Ordinance Committee. I am Jeffrey Wooden. I'm joined tonight by Mrs. Marshall. We have two items on our agenda tonight. First up is we're going to be considering providing a recommendation to council regarding the annexation petition for 5.5 acres on Troy-Urbana Road from Staunton Township. Mr. Titterington.
So this is 5.6 acres. We received this late last week. It is a request for a Type 2 expedited annexation. You can see on the, you should have a copy of the annexed land request. There is a fairly rigorous time schedule, which is why we asked that it would be considered for emergency legislation. Those timelines are set by the ORC. Council would need to pass, is it one piece of legislation? Three different pieces of legislation, declaring that we would provide municipal services the same way as any other annexed or incorporate land. That if there are incompatible uses per the definition of the ORC, that we would provide buffering, and then we would consent to the annexation overall.
It all seems pretty straightforward to me, so I do not have any questions. Mrs. Marshall, do you have any?
I'm just curious, what does he want to do with that land?
Not sure that we know at this point. We just kind of received it out of the blue.
The only question. I was just curious.
Do any of the council members have any questions? Any from the audience? What is your recommendation?
Move forward.
It is unanimous to move forward. The second piece on our agenda, which is new, but we will gladly talk about it, is authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to enter into a grant agreement with the Miami County Land Reutilization Corporation for remediation of 1375 South Union Street. Mr. Titterington.
So just to clarify, this is not a new item. It was originally on the agenda in a different committee.
Correct.
However, that committee could not muster a quorum. So the Land Reutilization Corporation, the land bank, was awarded approximately $245,000 in brownfield remediation funds from the state of Ohio, and the communities in the county could submit eligible projects. We submitted 1375 South Union Street, and would now like to execute a subrecipient grant agreement with the county, and so we need authorization by council to allow me to sign on behalf of the city. I can tell you that initially the services agreement had been awarded, but because we're a subrecipient of the county, and so our relationship is with the county, staff understood that to mean that since we already had an authorization agreement with the county, that we wouldn't have to come back to you. Well, we found out from the law director that was not accurate, so we're here asking for that authorization, and because the project is getting ready to go fairly quickly, we are asking for emergency legislation.
Sure. I am for this. I don't have any problem with that, but could you just explain some of the duties or what the company will be doing on the site, or some of the things that they'll be looking for, perhaps?
They will be analyzing the site. They will be doing the cleanup. They will be doing everything related to remediating any brownfield. We're not sure exactly what that work would be. That'll be based on whatever the testing comes back and requires. Okay.
Good. But is there any chance that they may find something that requires more work, so they might be coming back to ask for more funds in the future date potentially?
If we do, there's no cost to the city, so this grant is a 100% grant. We would simply go back to the state through the county and ask for more funds so that we can make sure that we can finish the cleanup.
Okay. Mrs. Marshall, did you have any questions?
I don't.
Do other members of council in the audience have any questions? Please come forward. Mr. Schilling. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mrs. Westfall, please come forward.
Hi. I just wanted to know timeline to get it cleaned up. What are we looking at?
Well, again, that'll depend on what the analysis shows. They would start, this is the planned year, so the work would start immediately, but without knowing exactly what the extent of the work will be, you know, they'll start as soon as possible. Sometimes they're fairly quick cleanups, and sometimes they just take a little longer, depending, you know, if they have to dig up and haul stuff away, if they have to do any kind of other site work.
What's the longest time frame, would you guess?
I
I mean, are we talking a year? Are we talking
I suppose
6
we
months?
could, depending on, you know, weather,
Okay.
and availability of the consultant, and if we have to go back to the state to have them look over and approve any of the recommended work, a lot of variables.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Schilling, please come forward.
Jeff Schilling, Troy City Council. Just had a couple of questions. This property is owned by private individuals through J&B Properties of Troy, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And do we know who those people are?
J&B Properties, I mean, I'm not sure, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's an
Who are the
LLC, so
owners?
who are the owners of the LLC?
It's Bruns. And Joe Johnson, Steve Bruns. Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson, okay, that's great. And the, so if the taxpayers invest this $241,000 into this property, what does that do to the value of the property? I guess the first question is, what's the property worth today?
That I can't tell you. It's minimal.
Okay, well, the county has it for $151,000.
Okay.
So if we put $240 into it, does that raise the price up to $400,000 or something?
That would be up to an appraisal after the fact. I don't know.
The last transaction I found on it is sold in 1993 for $260,000. I assume, I don't think J&B was around then, but that was the last one that I saw. And so, you know, if property increases 2% a year, that property you would think would be worth, without the environmental impact, you know, it'd be worth $450,000, $500,000. And so my question really revolves around how do we protect the taxpayers? This is really taxpayer money that we're using.
Okay.
And how do we protect the taxpayers? I think that, you know, so let's say we go through this environmental thing and the property does increase from $150,000 to $500,000. So we spent $250,000, $240,000 of taxpayer money, and Mr. Bruns and J&B Properties now have a piece of property worth $450,000, $500,000, and they didn't do anything except ask us for the money. And I'm wondering, I know we talked about this last year with the 25 gas stations that we have in Troy with this environmental cleanup, where it costs us $250,000 per gas station to clean up the environmental impact based on what we spent on duckies. And so here we are again spending taxpayer money, environmental cleanup, and the property owners get the benefit. And I think that we ought to consider. First of all, I think we should clean it up. I think Mr. Bruns has done a lot of wonderful things for the city of Troy, and you know, between his real estate and construction and this type of thing. But on the other hand, I think we have to protect the taxpayers. And I would suggest maybe we work out to put a lien on it. If we're going to give them $240,000 to clean this property up, we put on a lien on for maybe half that, $120,000. And so that if that property is sold and they make a profit on it, we get $120,000 of our $240,000 back. And then that would then go into a fund that we could use again to clean up other properties, and we would continue this process as we have more of these types of properties show up. It's a way of protecting the taxpayer money. It's a way of, because the other thing is the EPA is going to go away. We know that. And these funds aren't going to be around anymore, so we're going to have the next one's going to be fully funded by the city of Troy. So we've got to start looking at ways to you know, why should the taxpayers pay for this thing when it's essentially a private piece of property? They're gonna benefit some way by getting this thing cleaned up, and so why wouldn't we share that benefit? So I'd bring that to committee for your perusal on that.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Titterton.
So just so we don't get in any confusion at all, and you know, it's not a matter of semantics, it's a matter of whose funds these are, and ultimately who controls and who has the ability to do what as a governmental entity. You can say these are taxpayers' funds. I'm not sure, but I do recall that these funds are collected by the state, through the state, in the state budget, and I believe that there's some combination of penalties or other assessments or earmarked funds, whether they're from the general taxpayer funds. I don't know that for certain. I know that they are not local taxpayer funds.
Well, we know that the state of Ohio cannot create, they cannot create money themselves. They produce nothing. The state of Ohio produces nothing that makes a profit, that they can say, well, we manufactured this, we created this. You know, so every dollar that the state of Ohio gets is essentially from either taxpayers or fines or that type of thing.
Okay, and fines are different than taxpayer dollars.
Well, they go to the court, they typically fine companies, which all they do is raise their prices to taxpayers pay that in higher prices.
My ultimate point is that these are not control and can claw back. It's not our money in the first place to be able to claw back as a municipal entity. So
well, we're not clawing back our money. We're not clawing back our money because we're spending the $241,000.
No, we are accepting grant funds through the county, who's accepted grant funds through the state. What my point is, Mr. Schilling, is that you're talking about us being able to put a lien on the property, whether it's 50%, 100%, or whatever, and we don't have any right to do that. It's not our money that we control, that we budgeted, that we appropriated, so that we can put a lien on it. I don't even believe that program would allow anybody to do that. If anybody was going to do that, it would have to come from the state, and the state does not do that.
Well, the state gives the money to the county's giving us the money, and we give the money to J&B Properties.
Okay.
So
we are not out any funds. So there is no legal.
Well, I agree. I mean, I agree with you 100% on that. We're not out. You know, the city of Troy taxpayers, you know, based on the money that they give the city of Troy, is not out any money. But the taxpayers throughout the state of Ohio are out $240,000, and like I say, it goes a direct benefit to a private property, which it needs to be cleaned up. I'm assuming that nobody ever went after 84 Lumber when that place burned down to say, hey, you know, we need money to clean this thing up, because that's where all the stuff came from. There used to be a lumber company there. Okay. Right?
Okay, sure.
So nobody ever went after 84 Lumber to clean up the property. They just walked away from it.
And I don't know if that's a fact or not. If they went away but they paid something to the state, my point is they paid nothing to us. We're not earmarking. We didn't appropriate any money. We have no legal right to be able to assess a lien on that property, because then it could be argued that we're benefiting from that. As far as crystal ball into the future and the EPA going away, brownfield remediation grant funding has been in place for decades. That doesn't mean that next year they couldn't stop funding them. You never know. But based on history, you know, there's been a consistent program in place. As far as who owns the property, whether it was municipally owned, whether it's a private LLC that owns it, it is a polluted piece of property that is not productive at all. We are taking on this project with the help of the land bank in the state of Ohio so that we can clean up the property and make it a productive property, which then will generate a far higher level of property tax revenues for all the entities involved, at least as long as we have property tax in Ohio, as well as any kind of employment, net profit, or any other kind of income tax that we might generate from that property once it becomes productive, which it can't until the property is cleaned up.
Okay, well, again, I guess we're mincing words here, but essentially, I mean, the city of Troy gets the money from the county, we spend it on this company, we give the money to this company, so the money's out of our hands. And like I said, the piece of property still remains in the city of Troy.
We're not
so we
giving,
have a right, if the property value goes up, we have a right to, I think because we've improved the property, we have a right to get some of that some of that money back.
We're not giving the property owners this money.
I'm not saying that. We're paying the company to clean it up.
Yes.
So the money comes into the city of Troy, goes right back out to this company that's going to clean this property up. So we spent the money, but the property still remains in the city of Troy. And, like I say, the private owners are benefiting from this, and I'm saying our taxpayers should benefit from this as well. That's all there is to it.
And again, I would say that not only is the property owner going to benefit by being able to use the property, which they cannot do now, the city will benefit from that because we'll have a productive piece of property with development on it.
Yeah,
and it is zoned, I believe, industrial, and so that is the kind of land that we need, as we've had discussions in the past
We've
months.
had property out on Stanfield Road for 35 years. 35 years. There's nobody's ever done anything with.
Well, because the property owner hasn't wanted to sell it.
That's outside the scope.
I know.
of our
Anyway,
discussion.
I just want to bring that to your attention, what you want me to do with that.
Thank you.
so much.
I appreciate your comments there, Mr. Schilling. I appreciate you being a good steward of our taxpayers' money. It's one of our greatest responsibilities here on council to make sure we're looking out for that. I have to, I think, look out for what's best for the city of Troy, and I understand that is taxpayers' money. That is not directly local taxpayers' money. And I guess my opinion is I'm not going to be the first to try to shut off the spigot and hope everyone else follows suit to do that. So when that money is available for a property that we can reclimate and clean up and maybe make a benefit, especially on our southeastern side of Troy that certainly needs a little bit of a helping hand, that's something that I am in favor of. But I think you do have valid concerns, but I'm comfortable with the direction that this reclamation would benefit the city as a whole. So I'm in favor of moving forward with this with emergency. Mrs. Marshall, did you have anything else you wanted to add after all the discussion?
Explain to me again how that property was chosen. Basically, did they apply for?
It was identified as a significant brownfield property, and so staff identified it and submitted it to the land bank for consideration. There was a call for proposals, if you will, through the county CIC land bank, and all the communities in the county have their list, and so we all, they divvied it up.
Okay.
Do any members of the public have any questions? Do you have a final recommendation?
Move forward.
It is unanimous to move forward. Is there anything else to come before?
It's an emergency.
Oh, as the emergency?
Sure.
It is unanimous.
Right.
Is there anything else to come before the committee?
No,
No.
sir.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.